That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. Captain? Hadrian? It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
Those creatures kill UC citizens. They're not killing anymore.
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that.
A Vanguard captain. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the Cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
It was a mutual agreement, but I suppose you touch on the spirit of it. So, you also know then that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC's already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
I couldn't agree more. However, Both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? The good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you.
All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval. It does, but there's a concern. We're not 100% sure Balmore's actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
I have no doubt.
Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Maybe we should stop for a moment at the memorial. You know, to pay our respects. Hard to believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the Collective, when it seems like only yesterday.
You our visitor? You'll find the ambassador in her office. Go on.
Sorry, but I need sign-off from the Interstellar Affairs office before I can send you.
Exactly. It's like when someone insults you, you want to just...
By the way, Captain, Sergeant Yumi was looking for you. Sounds like he's got more work.
What? Sorry.
Hope you're finding everything you need. I know we're safe now, but I'm still a little jittery. Can't help but worry about more of those things attacking. Oh, please, take a look. Appreciate the business.
Ah, if it is, crime has slowed down since you started helping out, which is good for morale. I do. Thanks to you, the spaceport is up and running again, which is good for commerce, but also for smugglers. We've received a tip that someone has been bringing in contraband into New Atlantis through the spaceport, and we need to investigate. Well, technology-wise, criminals have always been one step ahead. No different now than it was centuries ago. Smugglers often have a fancy shielding or scan jammers that allow them to evade the checks. But luckily, we can still use old-fashioned detective work to track these criminals down. Great. First, speak to one of the technicians over by Landing Pad B. Ask them if they've noticed any suspicious activity. Once you've gotten a lead, cross-reference their testimony with ship records over at Aegis. When you're done, report back to me with your findings. There should be a few working on the landing pads. If they don't know anything, move on to another. Right now, we don't have any good leads. But if anyone's seen anything, it will give us something to go on. See you later.
Your safety is our #1 concern.
Something I can do for you? Can't say I have. When you work a job like this, you see so many ships. They all sort of blend together. Look, I'm just a port worker. My whole life would fit into one of these boxes. I've got nothing to hide. Now, if you don't mind, I got work to do. And if you do mind, tough.
Hello. Can I help you? It's about time. I've been telling my supervisor about that cargo ship for ages. I'm beginning to think he was ignoring me. It's the way the crew handled the cargo. They were being way too delicate. The manifest said they were carrying potatoes, spuds. I don't know what was in those crates, but it certainly wasn't that. That's the problem. I don't really look at the ship names when I work, just the ID number granted for clearance. I think it was UC576B. I do know it's a cargo class transport, if that helps. Goodbye.
You didn't hear this from me, but those ecliptic mercenaries, the factions.
Been a long time since I've been to Mars. Sol system doesn't get a lot of traffic,